Hello everyone, I am Alyan Fiverrwala and I am again left with another very special guest, Sir John. Sir John is the visionary behind the Vivaldi browser designed to put user first. As the CEO and founder, Sir John's journey from Opera to his website reflects his unwavering commitment to empowering users with a browser that adapts to their needs, not the other way around. With a global team spanning 25 nationalities and office in Norway, Iceland, and the USA. Uh, Vivaldi is more than browser; it's a testament, collaboration, innovation, and user-driven design. So, welcome, sir, and how are you?
Thank you, Alyan. Great to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm very thankful to you to coming in my show and giving your time. Thank you so much for coming. And before moving on the question, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jón von Tetzchner. I'm co-founder and CEO of Vivaldi. In the previous live, I was co-founder and CEO of Opera. I'm Icelandic, and I've studied computer science, and I've been building, should we say, browser companies since 1995.
All right, that's great. So, what inspired you to create Vivaldi after your experience with opera?
I mean, what happened at Opera is that the company went in a very different direction after I quit. And I quit because of disagreement with the investors about directions. I wanted to build and they wanted to sell. And eventually, some years after I left, they actually ended up selling the company. So when I was leaving Opera, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be using Opera forever. I don't, even though there's other people running it, I know a lot of the people that are there. But things changed at Opera. The company went in a very different direction. And then a lot of users were asking me, can you do something? And I couldn't do anything about Opera, but I could start Vivaldi instead. So Vivaldi is kind of we're making a browser for our friends, and that's kind of been our slogan from the very beginning. Because the reason for building Vivaldi is all those people that helped us build Opera, and all our new friends as well, and trying to build a browser for them.
All right, sir. So, how does Vivaldi prioritize user feedback and incorporate it into the browser development?
Yeah, we work really closely with users. We have a different way of thinking than I think a lot of other software companies. A lot of software companies use data. They collect data from usage and then they make decisions based on that. We are doing something rather different. We just listen to what our users think, and they tell us what they want us to do, and they tell us what they would like us to do. And then we try to adapt to that. And not all of them want the same thing. So we have a slogan kind of when in doubt, make it an option. And we just try to obviously make some decent defaults. But a lot of what we are doing is based on that we're all unique, we're all different, we're all equal, and we should adapt to the needs of the individual instead of just the masses. So we're trying to be a great browser for everyone, but it starts with the individual.
All right, sir. So, can you share some insight into Vivaldi approach to customization and user control?
Yeah, there's a lot of details here, and I mean you can control most everything in Vivaldi. I mean it starts with the look. You can have skins and you can have kind of themes that select the colors, but you can also then decide how simple or complicated you want the browser to be. As an example, now every browser has tabs, but in Vivaldi you can have the tabs at the top, bottom, left, or right. We have added the capability to kind of have things side by side in the browser. We provide ways through page actions to change how the pages are displayed. We have easy access to things like zooming functions. We have a keyboard shortcuts for people that prefer keyboards. We have mouse gestures for people that prefer to have their hands on the mouse and perform actions through that. There's just a lot of diversity and a lot of different ways of doing things. And I often ask people kind of, how do you like to do certain things? And quite often you get very different answers. I mean, my standard question is, how do you like to go back and forth in history? And I kind of like that question. It can mean multiple things. But in the browser, it means, okay, how do you do that? Do you press the arrow buttons? Do you use control arrow? Do you use single keyboard shortcuts? Do you use mouse gestures? Do you use the rocket gestures? Do you use right mouse button and then select from a menu? There's a lot of different ways to do the same thing. And one of them isn't more correct than others. There's just the one that you prefer.
Alright, sir. So, what set Vivaldi apart from other browser in terms of performance and security?
I think a core part here is basically the feature set that we offer. I mean, we have built the browser to be able to handle a lot of content, a lot of tabs, and part of that is being able to have an awful lot of tabs open at the same time, structuring them into tab stacks and workspaces and the like. On the security side, I mean, we are providing things like tracker blockers and ad blockers into the browser. As a company, we are not engaged in collecting information on users, not even to improve the product. We just do not want to know what you're doing with your computer. So those are parts of, and to me at least, privacy and security are interlinked, and not in the way that people have been talking about it. Some people said, hey, we have to give up privacy for the sake of security. I believe it's the other way around. If you give up privacy, you're giving up your security. Because again, the concept of collecting data on people and providing profiling is something that then opens up all kinds of bad things. And obviously, part of that is that if then that data on some server is hacked, then that is it can be used by people for bad purposes. But also, I just think there is something inherently wrong with us being profiled and that being used for advertising purposes, which may include trying to have influences with regards to politics and the like. So I think privacy and security are interlinked, and we mustn't give up our privacy because there's a security problem with that.
Alright, sir, that's great. So, how does Vivaldi collaborate with its community of polluters?
Yeah, we have a rather unique company in this way because we have a lot of volunteers that are helping us, and I think I mean that's we did have a bit of this at opera as well. Actually, we had a fair amount, but we have even more at Vivaldi, and it's one of the reasons why we had to make Vivaldi because I felt we owed those people because they helped us grow and are a core part of the company. We have people that are helping us test. We are having people that are helping us translate, so we are able to provide Vivaldi in a lot of languages. We have people that are even helping spread the word. And then we have a strong community that is giving us feedback and working with us. So it's rather unique in this way. And I mean, I feel a lot of humility with regards to all of those that are spending an awful lot of their time trying to help us. And again, we owe them to do the right thing.
Alright. So, what are some unique features of Vivaldi that user may not be aware of?
Yeah, that's a long list. We have a lot of features. I mean, one of the features I've talked about keyboard shortcuts, right? So we have something called single key keyboard shortcuts. It's off by default because it's too easy for people to press keys and it will do unexpected things. But if you know what you're doing, then you can enable that, and then you can do things like going back and forth with set and X, or you can zoom using 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, or you can actually put any kind of function on any key. That's rather unique. And then we have the mouse gestures. So the mouse gestures means that you're holding down the right mouse button and then you move the mouse in a certain pattern. That also performs an action. And users really love that. And it's been a unique feature for us for a long time. We then added the capability to take screenshots. So you have the screenshotting function. You can take a screenshot of the browser, or you can take the screenshot of the full page, which can be great if you want to store a page for later to look at it, basically taking a picture of it. We have the page actions. We have, I mean, there's so much in there. The ability to tile pages, so you can look at pages side by side. You have the web panels where you can have certain pages easily accessible. And then if you want to go all in, then you go and use Vivaldi for your mail and calendar as well. There's just a lot in here, and some of it is a little bit hidden. I mean, some is simple, just being able to take any search function on any page and turn it into a search that you then store. So for easy access, maybe your library at school or work or something like that, that you can easily search that from the URL bar. Just a lot of functions, and we're always adding something that people are asking for. Yeah, a quick commands. I should mention quick commands as well. You get the dialog box coming up, and you can put in any kind of commands there. It's really, really powerful. It even includes a calculator.
All right, sir. So, how does Vivaldi ensure privacy and data security for its users?
Mm. It starts with what we're not doing, and as I said, we are not collecting data, and I think that's rather important because most of the browsers actually they do in one way or another. They're ad companies. A lot of the browser companies are actually also ad companies, and then they're utilizing your browsing history one way or another, and we're not doing that. We also provide a tracker and ad blocker built into the browser, which you can enable either globally or per site, and or you can then disable it for certain sites if needed. So it's a really powerful feature to reduce the tracking. I would like to just urge everyone to also still know that even though you're doing things in the browser and we do tracker blocker and ad blockers, it doesn't mean that everything you do is fully safe. Just it's important to recognize that. But we are trying to do our best to keep people safe, and I think that's what we will continue to do.
All right, that's great. So, can you describe the culture and work environment of Vivaldi?
Yeah, I think what you can, I mean, I've said before, we have this unique thing that we have people outside the company that are helping. But I think also as an organization, we are a very flat organization where people have their opinions and we discuss things in between ourselves and we disagree even among ourselves. And I think you'll find that there's a very colloquial and a nice kind of way of working. We are a little bit distributed, and as part of that, we try to have gatherings where we gather together and we work together as a team. Um, Sometimes bringing family even, either to the US or to Iceland. In Iceland, we tend to go as a team during the winter. We then tend to drive somewhere out in the wilderness and enjoy kind of northern lights and just the night and the dark sky. So yeah, this is part of what we try to do. In some ways, we are like a family. Uh, we definitely try to kind of, as I said, we are building a browser for our friends, and that means that the people that work in the company also are friends and family in many ways. It also means that people tend to stay with the company for a long time, which I think is really important. That uh, there are people at Vivaldi that have worked with me at Opera as well. One of them, he started at Opera in 1997. And when we started Vivaldi, he came over to Vivaldi. So I think the fact that we have so many former opera people, that we have a lot of really good people that have joined, I do believe we have something special, and we just try to take care of everyone.
And that's really awesome, sir. So, what challenge did you face in establishing Vivaldi as a browser?
It takes time to build a browser. Obviously, I mean, this was very different when we were starting at Opera. At Opera, we are starting from ground and we wrote all the code ourselves. With Vivaldi, that's not really an option anymore. No one is building a browser from scratch. Not Microsoft, not Google, not Apple. They're all using code from someone else. And in our case, that means we're using Chromium, which is based on WebKit, which is based on the KHML project. So from that perspective, we are more reliant on others than we were at Opera. That's complicated. The code is always changing, and we are changing it at the same time. So it's kind of like we're on a train, and we are modifying the train as it is moving, and that's complicated. And luckily, I'm happy to have really smart people in the team, so we are able to deal with that complexity. But that is a complex thing from a technical perspective to build a browser, in particular because we do have a lot of ambition in building a really unique and special browser. We're adding a lot of features, we're changing a lot of things, and then we have to deal with the consequences moving forward because we need to kind of get all those changes in whenever there's a change from the Chromium side. Other than that, it's really a question of letting people know that we exist. I mean, we're a small company. We don't have the funding of some of the other companies, obviously. We're competing with some of the largest company in the world, Microsoft, Google, and Apple. And other companies that are maybe smaller browser companies, they're maybe from Silicon Valley with a lot of funding. So in that way, we are a much smaller company. But on the other hand, we are really smart people in the team, and we work really hard on building the best possible browser for people.
All right, sir, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, how does Vivaldi plan to stay independent and user focused in the future?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, if you look at the Opera time, the issue was that we had the wrong investors. Now, to make sure that doesn't happen again, at Vivaldi, we don't have any. The funding of the company has been coming from me directly. So from that perspective, we are ensuring that there is no one else involved, and we can just continue to build the company with the best interest of the users in mind.
All right. So, what are some upcoming development or feature that user can look forward to in Vivaldi?
I mean, there's a lot of things coming. I can't go necessarily into all the details, but I think a lot of the focus for us is actually we have a lot of features. A lot of our focus is basically polishing and improving what we have. I know others are looking at other things like putting in AI and the like. We think no one has been asking us for AI, so that's not user driven. That's something else. So for us, it's basically listening to what our users want, and in a lot of cases, what our users are asking for is not something dramatic, but polishing and improving what we already have, making things run smoother. I mean, things like providing more synchronization options, improving our ad blocker, things like that. And I think that's where the main focus for us as a company will be, is to polish what we have, improving. We'll come up with some innovations on the way, but not changing things dramatically unless our users ask for it.
All right, sir. So, what role do you see Vivaldi playing in the future of browsing and internet technologies?
I think we are an important voice with regards to staying on the straight and narrow and doing the right thing with regards to web standards and the like. We've chosen to support the Fediverse, the concept of a distributed internet, not the kind of Web3 crap, but excuse my language here, but I mean, our focus is basically that moving the internet forward. I think we have an issue today with a number of the social networks collecting massive amounts of data on users and utilizing it to select content. We are liking the more distributed approach of the Fediverse, where you have Mastodon and the various other applications. And that's something we're quite excited about. It's based on technology written by the W3C, the World Wide Web Organization. And for us, kind of that's that's the way forward for social networks. It's a better solution that is more like the web. Tim Berners-Lee, that invented the web, he has been pointing at the same thing, that the web has been going into a more centralized direction, and we want to fix that, and we want to take the web in a more direction that anyone can set up their own little social network server, connecting it to the rest of the social network and have it work together. Again, the way the system works is quite fascinating. Again, anyone can set up a server, but obviously if you try to then connect to other servers, then they will look at, okay, are you allowing bad content on your server? And then you'll find that certain servers work together and not others. But I think that's a more democratic way of doing things, and a better way than having large corporations decide what we see.
That's great. All right, sir. So, what advice do you have for inspiring entrepreneurs in the tech industry?
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, it's always a question of not just following the flow. I think there's so much kind of there's one hot thing, and then everyone jumps in the same direction. There's things like crypto, which is a bad idea to start with. There is now AI, and everyone is doing AI. And so it's a little bit of a question. Can you think out of the box? Are you able to think about something that's unique? Are you trying to solve an actual problem, or are you just trying to find a business? And to me, it's always a question: Are you try what is the reason why you're doing things? And it shouldn't just be about money. It shouldn't be just about trying to find a great business model. It should be about something that's bigger than that. And I think that's what people want to work with. And that's what we are trying to do. And that's kind of what I look for. I mean, I have invested in a few startups myself, mostly in my home country of Iceland and in Norway. And what I look at is companies that have a passion for something, that are trying to do something unique and different, and not just following the footsteps of everyone else.
All right, all right. So, how do you see the browser landscape evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it evolves. I do think that we're getting some new devices into the mix. For us at Vivaldi, that means cars. We've been spending a fair amount of time getting Vivaldi into cars, and there's a lot of future models coming out where Vivaldi is either pre-installed or as a download. I think that changes the picture. When I started working with browsers all the way back in 1994, the idea was, okay, the internet is English and it's on computers only. And then gradually people understood this is bigger than that. It's not only about English, it's all languages. And then gradually people understood as well, oh, mobile as well. It's hard for people to understand today, but when we were doing our first mobile browsers, the idea that you would browse on the mobile was foreign. People didn't think it was possible. They didn't think it made sense. And then we made a browser. This is the Opera days, and it worked nicely. I think there's more devices like that will be connected. I think there's going to be a lot more devices connected, and hopefully they will be more standardized. We should have the worldwide W3C involved in the process there, in standardizing the things and how they're connected. And then in a way, there's this battle about, okay, how much data can companies collect? And again, we are in the camp that companies shouldn't be profiling their users. So we would like to see that regulated, and we have to see how that goes. But that's the more darker side, and then we're trying to move away from the darker side and more into the positive. Let's make the internet great again. Oh, sorry, let's make the internet great. If you can strike that, please do.
That's great, wonderful, sir. It's really wonderful, sir. Okay, sir. So thank you so much for sharing your inspiring journey with us. Your dedication to user empowerment and innovation service as a beacon for the tech industry. We look forward to witness Vivaldi continued success and impact on the browser experience. Thank you, sir, for your time and valuable insight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Alan. It's been great talking to you, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you so much.